All praises and all honor and all glory unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahawashi, Ba'ashem, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, who rule well. Salutations to the Akim and the Four Winds, preaching in truth and sincerity, risking their lives more now than ever. The hopeful elect, the elect. Shalom to the Israelite foreigners whose phenotype may look like another nation, but bloodline goes back to Israel and have come back to the fold. Shalom to you sisters, you Akwatium, who listen and learn under your husband or your spiritual leader in meekness and in silence and have come back to the fold. Shalom. This is your brother Ram Yahawada with the lesson, Jude 1. And 1 Jude, a servant of Yahawashi, Hamashiach, and brother of James, which James is a brother of Yahawashi. So Jude was Yahawashi's brother. Right? Also, to them that are sanctified, which you're talking about Israelites, right? Because the only way to be sanctified is to be an Israelite, but then you're dealing with the elect of Israel at that, by Yahweh, Abanawa, and preserved in Yahawashi Hamashiach, and called, right? Many are called, but few are chosen, right? But this is talking about the called, the Israel of God. Mercy unto you and peace and love be multiplied. Beloved, when I gave all diligence to write unto you of the common salvation, right, which the only common salvation anyone can ever have, and it be common salvation, you have to be an Israelite, first and foremost. Then you have to be called of God. You know what I'm saying? It was needful for me to write unto you, to exhort you that you should earnestly contend for the faith which was once delivered unto the saints, right? And that's talking about all of Israel, because the Lord's only dealing with the elect, right? He's only dealing with the elect, right? Yeah, so this is contend, Jude 1 and 3.
Strong's G, 1864. Epagonidzamai.
Contend, earnestly contend for, struggle for. So you got to struggle for it. And it says, there's some root etymology.
Strong's G, 1909. Epi,
upon, on, at, by, before, of, position, right? It's a position that you have. On, at, by, over, against, to, over, on, at, across, against. See what the other one was. The other because I had another root etymology. Oh wait! Oh, look at that! To enter a contest. So it's like this is what you're doing. You're entering into a contest, right? contend with adversaries, fight, right? Which this is a spiritual fight now, but it's going to be physical and spiritual real soon, right? Struggle with difficulties and danger, right? Zeal, strive, yeah, to obtain something, right? So that's basically what it is that we're doing. And it's going to get even tougher. And so when we look at that so-called explosion at the Georgia Guidestones, it definitely had to be professional. It doesn't make sense the way it looks. It had to be professional. Look. See how that thing blew out? They try to have it cut to the other thing like a movie, you know what I mean? They're cutting instead of it being the whole, you know. They're trying to show you camera angles like it's a movie. You know what I mean? Yeah, so most likely that was a what do you call it? You know, control opposition type situation, false flag situation, right? So you know, because they're already, you know, trying to bring in, take away the guns and this and that, and you can only have a magazine this big, this, that, and that, and so on and so forth. So it makes sense, you know, for them to do that, to blow it up, to make go, oh my God, yep, we need to bring a new task force in, bring this and that, so they could put more pressure, you know, pressure from above, pressure from beneath, like the elders have always spoken of. See, and as you can see, only one of the things were blown away. It did look like there was a little bit of damage at the top of that other one, but like the elder had said, it's supposed to be an investigation. So supposedly they spent 12 hours, but an ongoing investigation, especially for an explosion. In 12 hours, you so-called investigated, and not only did you clean up the rubble, you even knocked down the other, what do you call it? Stones, I guess, right? So you basically cleaned out the whole entire investigation scene. Ain't that contaminating the investigation scene? But they want to have you believe that one of those things blew up. They spent 12 hours investigating, and then they had to just wipe out the whole entire thing after 12 hours of investigation. So
a lot of speculation over 4 decades.
Those near the Georgia Guidestones say that they heard a loud boom this morning. Now officials are working to figure out who did it. Fox 5's Eric Perry is live near that monument in Elbert County, where crews have been at that site for over 12 hours now.
Yeah, Courtney, Tom, if you joined us at 4 o'clock, you would have actually seen part of that monument still erected. Within that past hour, crews brought in equipment and they've knocked the remaining portion of it down. You're taking a live look here as they're working through this. A lot of agencies working together on this. We are standing on this side because at one point crews didn't know if there were other bombs that were planted or not detonated earlier. Whether you're in the air or on the ground, the massive presence from law enforcement is unmatched after an explosion jolted those surrounding the Georgia Guidestones near Elberton Wednesday morning.
For the years, we've had messages spray painted on the Guidestones, but we've never had this level of damage ever done to the Guidestones.
Christopher Kuvas is with the Elberton Granite Association. His organization's in charge of maintaining the popular tourist site. He says the county owns the property and maintains security.
One of the wings is completely been destroyed. It's actually laying on the ground. I can see it. The capstone piece is been damaged, and I'm sure the other 3 wings and the center support probably have damage to them as well.
The attraction was unveiled in 1980 by R.C. Christian and a group who funded the project. The detailed granite work was done by a local manufacturing company, and it's no small feat. The wings are over 16 feet tall, 6 feet wide, and a weight of a whopping 42,000 pounds.
You know, here we are several thousand years later, and Stonehenge is still standing. Imagine if it had writing on it, and you could read what the people of that time thought was important and wanted to leave for future generations. That's what the Guidestones were.
The stones don't come without controversy. Some found them offensive, like former gubernatorial candidate Candace Taylor, who took to social media in May voicing her disdain. Taylor tweeted more thoughts against the stones shortly after the explosion.
We actually had to install cameras several years ago after the vandalism got so bad. But, you know, it does break my heart. You know, if you don't like the message that was written on them, you know, that's understandable. That's your prerogative. But, you know, there's no reason to take it away from other people that might.
And back out here live, taking another look as they continue to work. And we're also going to show you on this side, the main road is open back up, but you can just see that massive presence here. ATF on scene, GBI, and also local officials as well. If you know anything about who might be responsible for this, come forward. Of course, you can remain anonymous. That's the latest here in Elbert County. I'm Eric Perry, Fox 5 News.
All right, Eric, thanks for the latest from there.
So this is Revelations 12 and 10. And as we see, they're going to turn around and blame that on, I don't know who, because you got all sorts of so-called groups, right? Because that actually fits everybody. It said it wanted to kill everybody on the planet Earth until only having 500 million. So anybody could have blew that up, right? You know, so now they were saying that they're calling that a terrorist act. So it's Revelation 12 and 10. He said, and I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, now is come salvation, right? Because now we're at the end, closer than when we believed, and strength and the kingdom of our power, or Yahweh, and the power of his Hamashiach, for the accuser, right? Because ultimately that's what Esau's doing. He's setting up the narrative. The accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accused them before our power, Yahweh, day and night, right? So let's go into that real quick. So yeah, Revelations 12 and 10. Look up the word accuser. He's the accuser of our brethren, right? Because we know that these so-called school shootings and grocery store shootings, and now the freaking the Georgia Guidestone thing which, you know, oh, Salaki, I didn't even.
Strong's G 2723. Categarreo. Categarreo.
It says before a judge to make an accusation, right? Let's see. What to this etymology? An accuser, a name given to the devil by the rabbis. Let's see. Let's go into this one. This is down from, throw out, according to, towards, along. Let's go back to this. This other had a second ad. It says any, okay, here we go. Basically, it could be anybody. Look what they said. Any assembly, right? Because they're talking about people are all these different groups, nationalist groups. You know, you got the Antifa, you got the Ku Klux Klan, you got this group, that group, whatever. You know what I mean? You got all these different groups, and then of course, you got the Black identity crisis people, right? That they want to make up. What you're talking about, you so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Indians. So your situation has to be a crisis. Oh, wow. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to all these identity movements, because most of those are identity movements, but your identity movement is a crisis. God damn. But you know what? Our situation is a crisis. Technically, any assembly, especially of the people, right? The place of assembly for public debating, right? For elections, hey, for trials, for buying and selling. Hey, notice they did that. They had a shooter at the store, but then the guy who they shot was a retired police officer who happened to be working on a car or an engine that can run off water. You know what I mean? For all kinds of businesses, marketplace, streets, wherever you at, you're basically a you're a terrorist. If you're Baptist, you're a terrorist. If you're Catholic, if you're Protestant, if you're Buddhist, if you're Islam, you're whatever religion you is, because of this New World Order, everybody is actually a terrorist, right? So we know that the real reason that they're doing all this really is for the elect, because of, the Lord is coming close to bring this society to an end. For there shall be in every place, right, and in the next city, a great insurrection upon those that fear Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahawashi, right? Because you got to bring that, because we do worship Yahawashi too, even though he's the son. We do worship Yahawashi. They shall be like madmen, right? Esau, Edom, and even these other nations, right? Because they're partakers of the wrath of Yahweh, because they drunk that wine. So, right, I know Psalms 83, because they drunk that wine. They shall be like madmen, sparing none, but shall spoil, which means spoil means to take, to steal, to take, and destroy those that fear Yahweh Bashem Yahawashi, for they shall waste and take away their goods, right? They're going to kill them, and they're going to take their goods, any water, any food, anything that you have. Take your goods and cast them out, right, of their houses, right? And that's the crazy thing, that one of those things of was the accuser is to throw out, right? So the accuser, using one of those things, or even diablos is to throw out too. Scatter, to throw out, right? So it says cast them out of their houses. Then shall they be known who are my chosen, right? Because ultimately the Lord is only dealing with the elect. And they shall be tried as gold in the fire, right? Because we got to go through it, man. Right? Revelation chapter 12, verse 11. And they overcame him, right? Which is Esau, Edom, and these other nations, but mostly Esau, Edom, because he's the one that's ruling, the last ruler. Esau's the end of the world. Jacob is the beginning of it that follow, right? He shall overcome him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony, and they love not their lives unto death, because ultimately we're going to look forward to actually dying, because that means the kingdom. It says, therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. So that's us, man, because our heaven is coming. Our redemption draweth nigh, man. But woe, hey, destruction, weeping, gnashing of teeth, right? To them, woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil, right, the accuser, another way of saying accuser, is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he got but a short, that he haveth, not got, but haveth but a short time. Yeah, he knoweth that he haveth but a short time, right? And that's why he's coming down with great wrath, Esau, Edom. So we got to look forward to death, man, because it's the kingdom. And when the dragon, which goes back to Rome, which were under this Roman Greco Empire, when the dragon saw that he was cast down unto earth, he persecuted. So that's the time we're looking in. We're looking to the time of persecution of the so-called black Hebrew Israelites, right? Or black identity, because even that is persecution, to say black when there's no one black. When we're so many different colors of brown, it doesn't make sense. And now that I come into the truth, especially as light as I am, if I take off my pants, my legs are white. But some people say, what's your nationality? I say, I'm black. Now that absolutely really don't make sense now. But yeah, it says, and the dragon saw that he was cast down to the earth and persecuted the woman which deals with Israel, which brought forth the man child, which is Yahawashi, right? And now how do we conquer this? What? By the blood of the Lamb, right? By our testimony and the blood of the Lamb. Chapter 20, verse 4. And I saw the thrones and they that sat upon them, and judgment was given unto them, right? Because the Lord said you get judgment for wicked, but you get judgment for righteousness. So this is a judgment for righteousness. It says judgment was given unto them, and I saw the souls of them that were beheaded, right? Because it's time we're gonna have to get put to death, man. Some of us are gonna die. Some of us are gonna go through some torture, but we're not gonna be movable. We're unmovable in the name of Yahweh Bashem Yahawashi. We're unmovable, right? Mount Zion, right? Unmovable, right? We'll be beheaded for the witness of Yahawashi and for the word of Yahweh, and which had not worshipped the beast, neither his image, neither receive his mark upon their forehead or in their hands, plural hands, left hand, right hand, it doesn't matter, hands. They lived and reigned with Hamashiach, which is Yahawashi, 1,000 years. But the rest of the dead lived not. Because the Lord said, then it's going to be known who are my chosen. And the rest of you live not. The rest of you Israelites are not going to live. The 2/3 are not going to live. And then the rest of you other nations, you're still going to die. But guess what? You're going to know that you were never a partaker of it from the beginning. Right? Because this part is only talking about the Israelites that didn't make it. But the rest that of the dead live not. Live not after again until again. That's how you know it's talking about the Israelites again until the 1,000 years were finished. This is the first resurrection, right? It says Matthew 24:7. For nation shall rise up against nation, right? Which is happening right now. Technically, America's into it with Russia, but the whole thing with Ukraine is just them trying to put off the having to go head on with them right off the bat. Then you got a lot of different things going on. You got the gold that they found in Africa, so a lot of them trying to rush down to Africa and get some of that gold down there, which China was already down in there. So it's a lot of things going on. So yeah, kingdom against nation against a nation, a kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines, pestilence, which they already saying it's a worldwide pestilence going on, which they're bringing more and more pestilence, whether they're creating them in the lab and releasing them or whatever it is. Those things are happening now. And earthquakes, right? They're pulling a lot of oil out of the ground, causing the tectonic plates to hit diverse places, and all these are the beginning. This is just the beginning of sorrows. So you ain't seen nothing yet. Well, that's why a lot of people don't really believe that things are it's gonna go back down. But then shall they deliver you up, right? Because we're speaking the truth, telling the truth, up to be afflicted, and shall kill you, right? The men of the Lord. All right, you're gonna be beheaded for your testimony, right? You're going to be beheaded for the testimony of the witness of Yahawashi, Hamashiach, right? We're in that time coming up shortly, very shortly. And ye shall be hated of all nations, right? Because where are the Israelites teaching at? All nations. See, and it would seem like a like some blase blah, hoopla, like no big deal, if there wasn't an Israelite camp in every place in the world. Like the gospel is really out there. I mean, so it says, yeah, of all nations, for my name's sake. There you go. It said, for Yahweh Bashem Yahawashi name's sake. And then wait a minute. So you're willing to die for this man, but you can't worship it. You can't worship him. Come on now. That means a lot of you ain't really ready to die for Yahawashi, man. And then shall many be offended, right? There you go. And shall betray one another, and shall hate one another, and many false prophets. There we go. That's crazy. There you go. And many false prophets shall rise and shall deceive many. And because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold, in which that's happening now on a daily basis. It says St. John chapter 15, verse 20, remember the word that I said unto you, right? And he said that through what? Through the prophets, through Moses, and then we got Abba Bivens, the men that were underneath him, and then the men that were underneath them are our apostles now. So now we're getting it through them. So remember the word that I said unto you, the servant is not greater than his Lord, right? And the Apostle Harden always never sugarcoated, like, yeah, you just be an Israelite and everything's going to be good. Everything's going to be fine. He's never said that everything was just going to be fine, right? He's always said, expect persecution, right? Matter of fact, he always bring up that scripture that's in the Apocrypha, prepare your soul for temptation. I can't think of where it's at right now, but he used to always bring that up all the time. So, and if the correct doctrine ain't there, I'm pretty sure Yahawashi Bashem Yahawashi will allow it to be ironed out, and I'm pretty sure the Lord is dealing with Apostle Har, and the Lord will have him humble himself and change what needs to be changed and keep what needs to be kept. That's just that, you know? Because everything he's teaching can't be wrong, you know? So, but we believe it's the 100% doctrine because it's the closest to the truth that anyone else is teaching. And then maybe got a little need things ironing out, but hey, it's called rehearsing the righteous acts. We're not perfect yet. It's not greater than his Lord. If they have persecuted me, they will also persecute you. If they have kept my sayings, they will keep yours also. But all these things will they do unto you for my name's sake. And some people are going to reward you. Oh, yeah, how about you, Yahawashi? And then give you things, saying, I'll help you out, you know what I'm saying? And then, but most people, the majority of people hated the Lord, right? And the majority of people are going to hate us because they know not him that sent me. And a lot of them, when you deal with any of these so-called proclaim spiritual things, no matter where it derives from, China, Buddha, Islam, or all these different sects of Christianity, they really don't know the Most High, man. They're not dealing with the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High. And then the most thing they ain't dealing with either, because even the Pharisees dealt with that. They knew the law, but you know what they wasn't dealing with? That the Lord is dealing with the Israelites and it's mercy, right? You you're dealing with other Israelites, and these are brothers and sisters that's inheritance of the same promise that you are. So why would you browbeat them? You know? And that's something we all got to learn, you know? But if I had not come and spoke unto them, right? So the Lord spoke, then, you know, Abba Bibbins, then then you know, the elder King Masha, High Priest Ariad, you know, then we got the elders of today, the elders of Connecticut. They have not spoken. Even you, now that you're on the highways and the byways, you out there, if you didn't come not spoke unto them, they had not to them, they had not had sin, but now they have no cloak for their sins. Because why? We've been out there teaching. It's been all over the internet. It's been everywhere. They know that the so-called, what people call black, and we're only doing that because of ignorance. We're all different shades of brown, and we are the Israelites. That's it. But the so-called black, Hispanic, and Native Indians. So it says, they would have no cloak. He that hateth me hateth my Father also. So they hate you too. They hate. And if I had not done among them the works which none other man did, they had not had sin. But now have they both seen and hated both me and my Father. And that's ultimately when you're speaking, they're really actually hating you. I mean, they're not hating you. They're actually hating the Father and the Son. And the Father and the Son's going to actually deal with it. John 13:16. Verily, verily, truly, truly, I say unto you, the servant is not greater than his Lord, neither he that is sent greater than he that sent him. Ooh, that's a cut. Proving that he's not greater than the Most High. So it can't be the same person. But okay, that's definitely a cut. But yeah, so if they kill the Lord, they're gonna kill you. But guess what? So this is Jeremiah chapter 30, verse 7. Alas, which means finally, for the day is great, so that none is like it. Which is talking about the ICBM missiles. There's never ever going to be a day that ICBM missiles blow up strategic parts of the earth and send radiation into the atmosphere that even if you don't get directly hit by the nuke, the fire and the gases will not allow you to breathe. It's going to take the air and going to take oxygen from out of the air. God dang, man. Yeah, so it's going to never be another day like that. The Lord's just going to let it happen this one time, because what the Lord said, what? You should be, he's going to leave you to your own devices. And one of the Esau's devices is what? Weaponry. You know, Cain, right? Was it Quana means weapons. Cain, if I'm saying it right. But Cain basically means weapons. And that's ultimately what he's been into, weaponry. So the Lord's going to leave him to his own devices. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble. So the Lord's going to leave you so-called black, Hispanic, and Native Indians to your devices, because it's going to be your trouble. But he shall be saved out of it. Who? The elect, the righteous out of Jacob are going to be saved. For it shall come to pass in that day, saith Yahweh of hosts, which means armies, that I will break his yoke from off thy neck, and will burst thy bonds, and strangers, right? Because we've been slaves under every nation pretty much since the beginning of time, pretty much, right? So, and strangers shall no more serve himself of you, right? Of him, which is talking about Jacob, which are the Israelites, you so-called black, Hispanic, and Native Indian, and you Israelite foreigners who phenotype may look like another nation, but your bloodline goes back to Israel. There's no longer a time where we're going to be in slavery and have to be afraid, and then you have to, you know what I mean? Because the Lord is going to put us back on top. So Isaiah chapter 59, verse 19, so shall they fear the name of Yahweh from the west, and the glory from the rising of the sun from the east. From the west and to the east. The Lord said there's going to be the slain of the Lord shall be many. The Lord said that he shall have, they're going to be dead bodies from one end of the earth into the other, which that's happening now, right? Through their global pandemic, right? And that's ultimately through the Lord. So, says, and you're going to know that it was the Lord eventually, but when, because they're running out of time, when the enemy shall come in like a flood, the spirit of Yahweh shall lift up a standard against them. Who? Esau, Edom, and these other nations that drunk of the wine of the wrath of the fornication. Why? Because they want to keep us down. They want to keep us in subjection, because that keeps them ruling, right? Because China wants to rule now, right? So all these nations are going to have to go down, right? And the Lord's going to lift up a standard against them, starting with Esau, Edom. And the Redeemer, which is Yahawashi, shall come to Zion, which are you Israelites that believe Zion, because we're unmovable, Mount Zion, unmovable in this faith, man. And unto them that turn from transgression. See, it's not everybody, because every Israelite is not going to turn from transgressions. A lot of Israelites love to be in their transgressions. And because the Redeemers come, let's say that again. And the Redeemer shall come to Zion, which are you Israelites, unto them that turn from transgressions in Jacob, saith Yahweh, right? Because every Israelite's not going to turn from their transgressions. You tell a nigga don't eat another piece of pork, that nigga look at you crazy. That nigga be ready to shoot you and kill you. You know what I mean? You tell a nigga don't have sex with your brother's wife, and that nigga will lose his mind. You know what I'm saying? These niggas love transgressions, right? But yeah, but the Lord's gonna lift up a standard. Call all Yim Yahweh Bashem Yahawashi Bashem Rakal Kadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well. Salutations to the Akim in the four winds, preaching in truth and sincerity, risking their lives more now than ever. The hopeful elect, the elect, Shalom. To the Israelite foreigners who phenotype may look like another nation, but bloodline goes back to Israel and have come back to the fold. Shalom to you sisters, you Akwa, who listen and learn under your husband and your spiritual leader, and meekness, silence, as you should. Hey, death to America.